Well, hello, dear colleagues. First of all, I'd like to apologize for my English because it's not actually my native language, but still, let's start. So, um, I just finished a course in the business school, and our professor proposed a good idea. When the audience sees the new speaker, then the three questions usually arises. First, who is he and where did he come from? Second, why does he want to tell me what he is telling now? And third, what if what he is telling me is a lie? So actually answering these three questions that I suppose you have, I'll start with introducing myself. Then I'll explain you why I'm presenting what I'm telling you now. And the third, I'll just tell you what I plan to tell you. And if you want to check it out, please do. I think you can get my contact from Alexei Novikov, and please feel free to ask me some questions, but sometimes please be persistent to get some answer, or you may check it by yourselves. My name is Dima. My family name is Kazachkov, Dima Kazachkov, and I'm 53 years old. I'm married. I have two kids, 14 and 19 years old. I was born in Moscow and lived in a 40 square meters apartment there were four of us, my dad, my mom, and my grandfather. And my parents were engineers, and my dad had a PhD in Titan alloys, and he had like 45 registered inventions in the USSR, and I had a very, very nice family. But of course, in these apartments, 40 square meters, it was a little bit cramped. And it all started when I moved from my normal school to a school which was kind of advanced in math. There was a class for programming. At that time, it was not a usual programming as we see it now. It was a programmable calculator, and the device which I was doing that looked approximately like that. I think that those who are approximately at my ages probably you've seen some analogs of that type of devices. Then after the school, I started in the university and worked in parallel. From starting my university until finishing it, I changed 5 jobs, and at a certain moment I decided to start my business. It was 1994, 31 years back. To earn money, I started to advertise that I could teach computer users. And it happened so that everybody who asked me to teach, who reacted to this announcement in the newspapers, there was no internet at that time, or it was just starting. Many of them needed to use Office-like software like Word or Excel, and due to respect to my colleague developers, I didn't want to pirate this software, and I wanted to buy it somewhere. And once a company, it happened so that once a company not only developed the software, but it also distributed the software. And actually, they gave the lowest starting threshold to become their partner and to get the discounts for the software so that I could resell it with some margin. So I gained I with the help of my father and my friend, we had our first $300 and to make our first purchase of the software. 3 months after the first purchase, OneC called me to participate in a partner seminar. In a way, this is maybe the event like you are having now, but the program was longer. It was like 2 full days. And then when I come over there were a lot of guys who were 20 years older than me, and they were talking about things like accounting. I was 23 years old, IT guy, and they have no idea what is that. And one of the partners explained to me, I understood it, and then I started to advertise automation of accounting. And then it all started. Answering the questions, why am I here? When I signed a dealership contract with OneC in 1994, there were already dozens of other partners. But it appeared that my company was able to grow quickly and my sales were quickly increasing. And in the beginning of 1995, I requested for the meeting with OneC CEO Boris Nuraliyev for getting the permission of sign distribution contract. This is the contract that allows to sell to other partners and to get the higher margin for that. Boris told me that he agreed, and he made me a counter offer. He said, let's transform your company into the joint company and joint venture, and he will personally advise me on doing business. This was the thing I could just dream of. But in exchange for that, he said, you will have to share your experience with other partners. They maybe will be your competitors. And you will share your experience. How do you grew it? How do you manage to do it? I agreed. And since that moment, I am doing the presentations for the partners, and I've done already like 100 presentations, master classes, courses for CEO and owners, co-owners of OneC business. And actually, I've chosen doing that already 30 years ago. And from one hand, this is an opportunity for me to do the common good for the whole OneC community, but for the other hand, being exposed to many other partners allowed me at some moment to grow my own business as a distribution business. With some of the partners we merged later on, and some of the partners we invested later on. At the same time, so ability to speak between international partners also is potential opportunity for development for my company. So these are my motivation. Why am I telling you that? We already had some experience, and actually first version of this presentation was when I was speaking to our our Vietnamese partners, and these are the pictures from our joint project with the Vietjet, the group which is the part of Madame Thao Group. Madame Thao is one of the richest women in Southeastern Asia, and the Vietjet is her airline companies, and that was very, very interesting experience for us. So just going back then to what happened at the beginning. In 1995, 6 months after signing the distribution contract with OneC and making our joint venture, the following situation occurred. At that moment, our office was a small room at the basement of the residential building in the center of Moscow. And I was in the office, and suddenly our receptionist lady comes to me and said, "Dima, there is a call from some international relations service. Serious people, please talk. Please talk." So I answered the phone, and actually it happened that the guy who was calling, he was the CEO of the club of the diplomats, the guys from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who were lovers of the hunting and fishing. And this club actually happened to be the building in the nice area outside Moscow with the restaurant. And what he wanted, he had a very simple problem. Every day after closing, restaurant presented the report with the number of each dishes, how many of them were sold. It was clearly, they knew clearly enough the recipe of each of the dishes, and it was necessary for them to calculate how many products they had to spend, subtract the amount of the products spent from the balances they had on the beginning of the day, calculate the calculated balances on the day, compare them with the real balances, the actual balances that they had, to manage the discrepancies, and so they had to do the accounting. But as soon as there were no software, they had to do it manually. So this is how I realized that this could be a good market niche, and at that moment we have made our own solutions for accounting in food service companies. Currently, it's the most popular accounting program for the industry in the country. A few months later, there was, at that moment, there were a lot of foreign investments in Russian companies, and they said that, look, you have the accounting according to the Russian accounting standards, but the company who is invested followed international accounting standards, and the report they needed for that had to be transformed into the format that could be readable by the investors. And this was another niche, and we have made our next product. Then in 2003, I first time visited the CeBIT computer exhibition in Hanover, Germany. And at that moment over there, I saw that many companies were talking about new class of the software, CRM. And I was sure that Russia and other former Soviet Union countries could benefit from that type of the software. And then for several years I was looking for the manager of this business line. At last I found it, and now as the result, 1C CRM, developed by 1C Rarus, is one of the popular CRM program for medium and large scale businesses in Russia. And this was also born back then. Now we are also the developer of the very popular solutions for transport management, construction management, car dealers, car service centers, and utilities and collective homeowners. So in many, many areas. So this is how it happens. And actually in each of these cases, writing the product from the scratch took from 9 months to 1.5 years. And this is how this business looks now. So you can see that the total amount of sales are thousands of users, and altogether this is more than like 55,000 companies who are using this software. There are nearly 10,000 companies who are paying regularly for it. And of course now, after the 25 years, it's not just the solution for accounting. I'm talking about that because when you think of partnering with 1C, I just would like to suggest you to think that this is also a very interesting opportunity. If in your country there are some niches, then you can easily extend the functionality of the product and make your own solutions in the same way how we did it. And after the 25 years from the beginning of the simple accounting for software for the cafes and restaurants, you may see the evolutions. Now this is the whole line of product, including waiter terminals for entering orders, mobile apps, software for food service companies like those who prepare meals for schools and kindergarten, program for planning meals for medical and health institutions, and calculating menu depending on the work program. And one of our latter developments is the automated cash register with artificial vision that is used for the food service outlets where people pick up meals on the tray with a serving line. This is how it looks like. So there are two main ideas that comes from that. One is 1C is a really truly flexible and user-friendly emerging development platform that allows you quickly and at a reasonable cost create solutions that, if you see a niche in automation, organizations successfully occupy the niche and for decades successfully compete with the different developers who has chosen other platform. The second is like in any business that there are no miracles. Everything depends on you, on how attentive you are to the needs of your customer, how attentive you are to be able to see this niche. And are you able to see when the customer tells you their problems, are you attentive enough to see and to understand that these are needs not only one organizations, but the whole industry or the whole class or group of companies? Okay, so going back to development of 1C Rares, my company was growing quickly, and in 5 years after foundation, I had 160 people working for me. In 15 years, 1,600. And these are the numbers that I reached after working with 1C for 31 years. 170,000 customers, more than 3,500 employees, more than 10,000 clients of our cloud, more than 300 customers who are using our cloud for their own infrastructure, some of them quite a big one with more than 2,000 users, 3,000 partners who buys the software for us in the distribution business. To another case because 1C Rares is maybe big and it's maybe for you hard to, maybe someone can say that, hey Dima, you were lucky you started in 1994 when it all just started, when IT just started. So I want to give you the case of another company. The company Coderline was founded by my ex-employee and one of his colleagues 11 years ago when the market was already very mature. Right now, the company employs more than 800 people, and its revenue for 2024 is more than $17 million, doing only 1C business, for which company is offering a wide range of service. How did the company manage to achieve such a result on a very mature market with 1,000 of other players Of course, the CEO, who previously worked in my company for 15 years, then he worked for 3 years in one of my biggest competitors, who has very strong sales culture. And at that company, they have even more employees. If I have 3,500, they have more than 6,000 employees. And they have really outstanding culture of sales. So he built a sales team in the territory that later on was touched by Russia-Ukraine fighting. And 3 years ago, he had to fully rebuild the sales team and to rebuild it in Russia. Now, the sales team of that company is more than 140 people. So the next idea that I want to tell you is, if you want to build a business with scale, it's necessary to build a very, very good sales team. Of course, as soon as we do the professional services, Coderline CEO has also paid a huge attention to the professions of his employees. I think that if you have access to good talents, this is also a good option for you. So the next idea that you may get from Coderline case, because my ex-colleague had a great experience of working with the two biggest partners of 1C before starting his own company. So you might think that of also contacting some partners of 1C from Russia to discuss how to develop better this business, because there are companies, my company and some other companies, who has decades of experience of doing business with 1C, who has experience of automation with 1C of the huge companies. And maybe if you have some company which is too big, which size and complexity significantly overgrow your past experience, then maybe it's good to go there with some partner to be able to render the services professionally. By the way, I'm sure that maybe Alexey Novikov told you that there are partner seminars, and one of the good ideas is, if you can, come to Moscow to one of these big seminars. This is a very big event with more than 1,500 participants, and just within 2 days you may have 10 or 12 meetings with the different partners, knowing them in person, feeling if you're okay to deal with this or that man or woman. So could he or she be a business partner? Next case I would like to tell about is starting a business in Germany. I tried to start a company in Germany which actually should be substitute the role of the 1C vendor, and I failed, losing like approximately maybe €1 million for this initiative. But despite of this failure, I've got some experience, and I found the company with whom we have made a very, very good partnership, which lasts already for maybe like 15 years. This was a company, a small one, just 8 people, which had a very good and strong solutions for the industry of auto transporting company and auto transport brokers. This is very popular business in Germany. So they had maybe like 150 customers, and they had very good solutions, but with the old technology. Actually, their solutions was made in a Visual Basic. So what we suggested for this company, we suggested some investment. First of all, in rewriting their software to OneC platform. And as soon as we did it, the company gradually, these are Germans, they're very, very conservative and very careful. Within 5 years, has upgraded all of the existing 160 customers to the new platform, but since the moment when we started, they've got 70 another customers, and now company is serving maybe like 220 customers who is paying regularly them for the services. Some of these companies are quite big. They have 120, 130 users, and maybe 1,000 tracks, something like that. So, and this is very, very successful case. And this is a very good example how the new product can be made with a significantly low investment if you know exactly what the product should do. If you have already the customer base, then this is a very good option. Another case of international partnership was with a partnership with the consulting business. Approximately between 2000 and 2010, my company was growing very quickly, very rapidly, and as it happens, with many companies who grows very quickly, after the quick growth, the management structure was quite messy. I had more than 27 people who directly subordinated me, and I needed some help. So I used Adidas Consulting for helping us in this process of transformation. And when we learned their technology closer, we understood that they had quite a good change management techniques, but at the same time, from IT side, they were quite, their experience was quite poor. So we suggested for them that let's make some tools that will help you to make your consulting stages for the budgeting, for the reporting, etc. And we have made the joint project. And as soon as we made it, we had approximately 10 new customers in Mexico and several customers in the former USSR. So contacting with the consulting companies could be also a good way to advance your business internationally. This is just a good example that saying that OneC is quite a good international platform. It's not only a tool for Russia only, and right now I think, well, if I was speaking 1 or 2 years earlier, maybe it would be more complex for me to get the proofs that OneC is very good internationally recognized. Right now there are much more examples. Just to finalize the whole idea of what I wanted to tell you, there are 6 key ideas that I would like to tell about OneC. First, OneC is flexible, and if you have the idea, if you know the audience and you know their needs, then OneC is a good technology for you to make your own solutions with a relatively low budget that will be competitive and that will be helpful for your customers. Second, success significantly depends on how you are attentive to your customers, how you are attentive to their needs. And are you able to see in their needs, the needs that will be, that are the needs not only one organization, but they need the whole industry or the whole group of companies in a certain region, in a certain type of business, in a certain industry again. Third, importance of sales. If you want your business to grow, regardless, is it 1C or something else, you need to have good sales. Whatever you do, if you do business, sales should be your focus. 1C is a good product, competitive technology, but if there are no sales, it will be really hard to succeed. Idea number 4. If you are good at sales, you will have a stream of customers who are coming to you. And among these customers, there will be very interesting customers, but quite reasonably, for some of them, you might not have enough experience. Please think about getting some expertise from other 1C partners, from other countries, of course from Russia, which is their origin of 1C, where there are a lot of partners, knowing a lot of industries with a huge amount of experience. 5. 1C, if you decide to go to 1C, think that it's not only for your country. If you have some good experience, and if it can be used in some other countries, then in the future, this is a good opportunity for you to expand your business internationally. Idea number 6. Think about partnering with the consulting companies. Many consulting companies have access to the customers, but they have low IT expertise, and maybe partnering with them could be good access to the companies. Number 7, which actually unites with what was told before, 1C is not only cost effective, but it also rapid development. Again, if you have idea, from 9 to 1.5 year, and you have a new product. Think about that. Thank you very much for listening.